Guys, have you ever wondered what your agenda is or your place is in life or in any of God's plan? Especially when you start getting to know more of God and how big God is, you begin to wonder, like, how can I do the plans and the purposes of God if He is so big and if His agendas are so big? How can I do it alone? And I've come to realize that many of us don't understand that it's a chain reaction. Our obedience kickstarts a chain reaction. Many times when we obey, we become a catalyst for something to change, for people to change, or the world to change at large. Hi guys, my name is Oluwatimi Shekbajimo. Welcome to my YouTube channel and thank you for tuning in. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the fact that it's a chain reaction. You know, when God tells us to do things, we wonder, how can I do this? We give excuses, like valid excuses though, like, oh God, I don't have enough phone storage, like God telling you to start YouTube. Or you think, or you give excuses like, God, I don't have the resources now. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to go about it. But something that I've learned is just start. The next step is in starting. Many a times when God gives us commands or tells us to do things, we don't see the full picture. Sometimes He can show us the end, but we're not always going to see the full picture. So sometimes this week I was studying the life of Saul and David, and I came across 1 Samuel 13 and 14. And this was a time after which Saul was anointed the king of Israel, the first king of Israel. It was such an honor, right? Something happened along the way where he decided he was going to defy an order that God gave to him through Samuel. So what was the instruction? The instruction was, when you get to Gilgal, wait 7 days. I'll come up to Gilgal, which was Samuel, the prophet at that time. I'll come up to Gilgal to offer the burnt offerings and sacrifice to God. Now, if you have been a Bible scholar, or if you know anything about the Bible, you know that there are priests who do these things. Not any type of person can actually sacrifice or, give an offering to God, offer it to God, basically. So, in that time, there was war that was coming, and they found out that, oh, yeah, there was this particular city that was coming against the Israelites. Saul, being the king, thought, oh, yeah, we have to go to war. So, while he was waiting for Samuel, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 7 came and it felt like nothing happened. Many of us feel like that at different points of our lives, where we feel like there's so much pressure. God has promised you something, God has said something, and you're like, God, the year is about to end. You're like, God, the situation is not more favoring me anymore, right? And as at that time, Saul had about 2,000 soldiers. He had soldiers in thousands. But by the seventh day, he had only 300 soldiers with him. Now, after he realized that he had only 300 soldiers, he decided, you know what? I'm going to offer the sacrifice to God myself. And immediately he did that. After he was done with the sacrifice, Samuel walked in. And he said, you shouldn't have done this. You should have waited for me. What was the problem with Saul, and why did Saul not wait for Samuel? It can be easy to just read scriptures and say, oh, he should have waited. Should have just waited 1 more hour. But the truth is, sometimes it's not that easy to wait 1 more hour. It's not that easy to wait 1 more day. It's not that easy to wait 1 more month. But he did not wait. And one of the reasons why he didn't wait was because he was losing people, right? But something that was very, very groundbreaking for me in that scripture was when I kept on reading and I saw that Jonathan, Saul's son, was part of his footmen, his soldiers, right? And Jonathan left the camp a few days after because everybody was, the different people at war were in different camps. The Philistines and the Israelites were in different camps opposite themselves. Something that blew my mind that Jonathan said was that nothing can stop the Lord from saving, whether by few or by many. Something I've learned is that when you want to do the agenda of God, especially when the thing that you want to do is the agenda of God, go and learn about the God that you want to serve. Now, one of the mistakes of Saul, I believe, was that he did not understand how big of a God he had. He did not understand how big of a God appointed him. Now, this was the difference between Saul and his son Jonathan. Jonathan went into war with only one person, his armor bearer. And he said nothing would stop the Lord from saving, whether by many or by few. This is the word of somebody. This is the understanding of somebody that has gone to learn about the God that backs them, that He can take down an army with one man. And he can also take down an army with 100 men, with 1 million men. He can do it. The resources and the power is not in me. He will supply. And this is supposed to be our approach to obedience. Oh, I don't have the resources right now, but what do I have right now? Start with what you have. Now, let me tell you something that blew my mind with that particular story. Many times when we see the visions and dreams that God gives to us, we think, oh my God, there's a lot to do. But do you know that Jonathan and his armor bearer only had to kill 20 people for the Lord to start something? Now, in that story, if you read 1 Samuel 13 and 14, you realize that as soon as Jonathan said, you know what, nothing would stop the Lord from saving, whether by many or by few, he gave God a fleece. He said, if I get to their camp, and he said, come over, he would go in. And that he would take it as a sign that God is with them. So he went in, and he only had to kill 20 Philistines. In killing 20 Philistines, the Philistines in the camp, they were confused. So the Lord threw confusion in the camp of the Philistines, and they began fighting against each other. Something that we don't know is that God doesn't really need the things that you have. He just needs your obedience. He just needs your willingness to trust him and just take that step. Jonathan only had to kill 20 men. And from there, the Philistines, they turned against each other. From there, the men that left the Israelite camp and said, oh no, we're not doing this, they heard the sounds of war and they came out of hiding and joined the war. Saul and the people in the camp of the Israelites, they heard the sounds of the war. They consulted God, and in consulting God, the Jonathan and his people, they were winning the war, and they joined the war, and that's how they were able to win the war that they were supposed to fight. What is the lesson in this story? Do what God has called you to do. Don't act your age. Don't act your resources. Don't act your knowledge. Ask the God that has called you. Be audacious in the things that God has called you to do. Because no, it's not by your power, neither is it by your might. As long as you have a word from God, that is it. In the olden days, they say that the word of a king is law. And guess who is the King of Kings? It's your God. So if God has instructed you to do something, please, he only needs your obedience. Yes, he can take advantage of your experience. He can take advantage of the things that he has taught you in the process of you getting to that place. But here is the thing. He only needs your obedience and your submission, your willingness to go and go with him. Go and get to know about the God that you serve. Go and get to know about the God that has called you, or put that big dream or vision in your mind. In learning to know about him, you realize that God is merciful. Jonathan realized that God is merciful. Jonathan realized that God is big. Jonathan realized that God is powerful. The magnitude of the things that you get to do is dependent on the revelation of who God is to you. How far God can express himself in your life is how far you see him. If you see God as a father, he'll be a father to you. But he'll probably not be a business partner to you, because you would never invite him into business. If you see God as a lover, he'll be a lover to you, the lover of your soul. But you'll probably not introduce him into your relationship life, because you feel, oh, God doesn't care about it. Go and learn of God. And how do you learn of God? You learn of God by spending time with him, digging through scriptures. If you want to get to know somebody, you get to know somebody by interacting with them. So in prayer, in study of the scriptures, in meditating in his word, and in worship. So I really hope you've enjoyed this particular episode. I'll end on this note. Your obedience, you taking a step towards what God has called you to do, is going to be the catalyst that starts a chain reaction. I was thinking of starting an episode called The Nature of God, where we talk about the different natures and different sides of God that we see through scriptures. So if you'd like to see that particular series, let me know in the comment section and I'll be happy to start it up. Please introduce yourself in the comment section. My name remains Oluwatumishe. You can call me Toons. Thank you for watching. Bye, guys.